launched the app, good, we celebrated, but everything else that we were doing every other day is what counted for the business. The knocking on the doors, and they will say no. The teaching your customer about the problem that you are solving, rather not even making them aware of your product, but how important it is that this problem is solved. Yeah. Also, being open to what people are telling you, because as entrepreneurs we go in, we figured out the problem.
Like, it's good. It's good. Give me 5 million now. Hello, and welcome to Business Done Right with Coach Kifilo, as you know, the people's coach. Thank you so much for tuning in. Maybe some of you are returning to the podcast. Maybe you are new. If you are new, please remember to click the subscribe button. If you are not sure yet, if you want to click the subscribe button, listen to the podcast, and if we've given you value, if you loved it and you feel like this is your cup of tea, make sure to click subscribe and share with your friends and other entrepreneurs that you believe will benefit from listening to this show. So what is this podcast about, right? This is really about sharing lived experiences. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a business coach and mentor, and I've worked with quite a number of prominent local and international companies with my Skills Development Academy that I've managed to build to becoming a 6-figure training academy. But that didn't happen overnight, and that is why I'm here. Over the past years of trying different businesses, failing, pivoting, testing, trialing, the ups and the downs, I feel like I've got so much that I want to share with you about the journey of building a business. And this is what this podcast is really all about. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're somebody saying, you know what, Kifilo, I'm building this, I have a business, but I have no idea what I'm doing half of the time, this podcast is for you. If you feel that you are stuck, you could do with a bit of inspiration, motivation, and sometimes lessons about how you can do better and become the leader that you can become for your business. This is the podcast for you. And lastly, I can tell you there's no entrepreneur or anybody doing amazing work today who doesn't feel doubt, who doesn't feel like, am I good enough? Do I really need to be doing this? Am I valuable? Do people really want what I have to give? This podcast is for you, because you're not only going to be learning from me from the podcast, but you will also be learning from other entrepreneurs that I will have as guests onto this podcast. And I truly will do my best to make sure that I get amazing guests that can walk this journey with you. So, getting on to today's episode. Who do I have in studio with me today, right? I've got Lungi Maile. She's also an amazing entrepreneur in the education technology space. But I am going to hand it over to her to introduce herself. So I want Lungile to tell us, right, who she is and why she thinks people should listen to her.
Thank you, Kifilo. My name is Lungi Maile. I am the founder of Nubian Smarts. We are essentially an edtech company that aims to provide STEM education to learners in underserved communities. We service learners from as young as 4 years old up until 18 years old. So really throughout the schooling career, providing support, providing resources, and making sure that's engaging and accessible for young people.
Funny enough, when people are asked, tell us about yourself, they always tell us about their work and not necessarily you as Lungile, you as a person. So I think I'm going to put you on the spotlight. I want you to tell me about you. Let's say you did not have Nubian Smarts. Who is Lungile?
So Lungile, first and foremost, is a mother to 3 beautiful babies, 2 boys and a girl. I am a hardcore Christian, if there's ever such a thing. I really do. My faith drives everything that I do. I'm passionate about young people, whether it's young people in workplaces, because I've been in the corporate space for a while, whether it's young people within communities. I'm from Makaya, and really about that whole community raising a child. I grew up in that era where anybody and everybody can beat you up if you're doing wrong. So you don't. It's not only your mother. I grew up around that.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, and for me, it took a village.
Yeah.
I've got sisters and brothers. I've got a big family, huge family. about 15 siblings.
15.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah, but it's 10 from my dad's side and 5, and we are 5 from my mom.
Okay.
So it is huge, but it's not that big Christmas type of vibes. Yeah, my mom is from Eswatini. My father is from Lesotho, and I was born this side.
You were born in South
I was
Africa.
born in South Africa.
All right. And on a normal Saturday, if you're not working, what are you doing? What are you up to?
I genuinely love hiking, and I know people say this a lot. I love hiking, but mainly because I get to scream.
It's like you get
It's
to the
only
top
time-
of them and you can
it's the only time
release.
I can release, and it makes sense for you to go. People are like, yo, this hike must have been hard.
It's
No,
normal.
No, has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I'm a serious type of person, but I'm a binging type of person. So
Okay.
I binge everything. So my weekends are really the only time when I can binge and watch the whole 4 or 5 seasons type of person. Get
Okay.
it done. I'm not a movies person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I sleep through movies. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Yeah. I aim to read more. I don't. I read the Bible mainly and maybe stories that relate to the
Yeah.
Bible, but not really much of a reader other than that. And I spend a lot of time with my sisters.
Is it? All right. That's very lovely. I want to ask you this question because normally people ask somebody, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. And I learned somewhere from somebody who's a professional coach in communication. And she said, start asking people, what exciting thing are you working on? You know, so that's my question for you right now. What exciting thing are you working on?
We're working on an incubator. We're doing an AI for Good incubator in Eswatini with the University of Eswatini. Really, really excited about that. We put out the call a couple of weeks ago, and the teens have registered, the mentors have registered. Now it's up to sponsors. Sponsors, hello. The teens have come from all over the country. I'm absolutely honored. And it's odd because I'm a South African. My company's this side. To get that kind of support from that side really makes everything so much nicer. And it shows that this is bigger than me. And the need for children to get access to what artificial intelligence is and that curiosity around it is already there. We just need to provide the platforms.
Yeah. So, and you're saying it's for teenagers.
It's for teenagers from 12 to 18-year-olds. It's absolutely free for the teenagers. So it's a 5-day program where they're going to go through design thinking, market fit, business model canvas, how to pitch, how to create a pitch deck. They're going to be divided into 5 teams, and they're going to then from there get to a point whereby they come up with a solution that is aligned to the SDG goals.
Yeah, that's interesting because when we were in school, we were never taught such entrepreneurial topics, and it was social science, mathematics, and for the fact that these teenagers now still in school get to actually learn things that people in MBA level sort of like get taught, right? So I want you to tell me, how did you come about getting into the space that you are in? I know you're in the education technology space, right? Where now you're using STEM. Maybe just tell us what STEM is about. How did you get into that?
Yeah, so it was one of those, it found me, didn't find. I started being an entrepreneur, not starting a business. So I know a lot of people say, I grew up being business-minded. I grew up looking at business people. I'm like, I don't know how they do it. It's not me.
Yeah.
I can't sell. I don't know how to sell anything, so I'll never start a business. I was in corporate. I was working for a bottling company here in South Africa as a production team leader. So within the manufacturing space in the factory, there's the operators that run the machinery, and then I'd be the first level of management. And at the time, they were introducing automation. And as they were introducing automation, the OEM would then dictate that in order to operate this machine, these are the qualifications that we require. Then they wanted maths and science at grade 12 level. Now, it's not like the factory was not running before that. They had people running, operating certain machinery. It was partly manual and machinery. So at some points within the manufacturing line, you'd find people maybe stacking pallet cases at the end of the line. And those people couldn't apply for these jobs now that the machine was going to come over and take over that. And the company then tried to upskill them and say, you know what, maybe you need to go back and get your maths and science into order so that you can apply for this. And when I spoke to this gentleman, Abu Baba, they didn't want to. They said, no, maths is not for everybody. Maths, it was hard when I was in school. Now, at my age.
And I've got stress and I've got problems. You want to take me back to maths.
I've got issues. I've got problems. You want to say I must go back to maths.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh, my word. What if this is my son years later? My son was 3 years old then. And I was like, but there must be something that can be done. And subsequently, there's always been this talk in South Africa about how our children are not doing well in maths and science. We can't read at grade 4 level for comprehension. It's every day. And I was just like, but why isn't anybody doing something about it? And I figured, okay, might as well be me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was getting into. Back then, Candy Crush was huge. Everywhere you'd go in a taxi, you'd find people playing Candy Crush, regardless of age.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you could do Candy Crush with mathematics, I think that would be a good idea. Found a developer who thought like me, did this dumb thing, took my pension fund, threw it into the project because I believed so much that this is going to work. I reached out to then Panyaza Lisufi because they had just introduced the tablets in schools. I was like, this is like when opportunity
It's aligning.
It's aligning. It makes sense. And I'm like, they don't have any things that are going into that. Let's create an application. So the application needed 4 things for it to work. It needed to be able to work without an internet connection because I wanted, if a parent downloads it, they can download it onto their phone without worrying that it's going to finish the space for eTombe. Secondly, I wanted it to, it's 4 megabytes. It must be small. It must play without an internet connection because parents have Wi-Fi at work. They don't have Wi-Fi at home. So at least it should be able to continue playing. It should provide some feedback mechanism for the parent to say, this is what is happening with your child so you can assist your child. And it must be aligned to CAPS curriculum because I was tired of downloading games that would teach my child how to count in inches and count in dollars.
Oh, yes.
Because how is that helping? So those were the major things. The app came out 2017. This is 2016 September when the idea comes on. 2017 January, we launch. It's on the Google Play Store. I'm like, my job is done.
Yeah.
Back working full-time once again, back into the manufacturing space, and I'm working full-time. I'm happy. Apparently, you needed to have a business. You can't just have an app. And then I went into the whole idea of how to make this a business. I did a couple of programs. I did the Tony Elumelo Foundation program, which was massive because they put you through with a mentor that talks to you about business principles and business principles in the South African context. Because so many times when you look at apps back then, it was only in the American context. So they would talk about get it viral, get lots of downloads. Once you have lots of downloads, then
you are successful.
Then you're going to have ads, revenue.
Yes.
And it didn't apply for me.
I want to, the way you're telling your story, it sounds like, boom, left my job, got my pension fund, built this business, got an app developer, 24 hours, we built it, sent one email to Panyaza Lisufi. Panyaza Lisufi was in, and now I'm successful. It sounds like...
It was not.
When you started this, no business acumen, I just saw a problem. And I think that's what makes an entrepreneur. Like, it's not about you selling, right? I think an entrepreneur is somebody who says, this is a problem, but I want to solve it. But you saw this problem, and you knew that work now had to be done. So what was some of the first reality checks that came in after you then started building this app or the business?
First things first, I would always say, if I could go back, I would have done a study on the market that I was creating solving the problem for. I went in with the thinking of solving a problem for people in underserved communities, but with the thinking of how it's done in America.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't work. That's the one. Secondly, I would say one of the major things was, support, guys, is massive. I mean, I remember telling my mom, this is what I'm doing. And she said, but you won't have medical aid. Literally, that was the whole thing. Over the last couple of years, it's always been the thing. You left your job now. You don't have medical aid. What's going to happen to your child? What is going to happen to you when you get sick? That was the second thing. The other thing is running a business is not about those launch dates. When we launched the app, good, we celebrated. But everything else that we were doing every other day is what counted for the business. They're knocking on the doors, and they will say no. They're teaching your customer about the problem that you are solving, rather not even making them aware of your product, but how important it is that this problem is solved.
Yeah.
Yes. There's that. Then also being open to what people are telling you, because as entrepreneurs, we go in, we figured out the problem.
Like, it's good. It's good. Give me 5 million now.
Like, guys, I figured out the problem. Just give me money and let it. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And understanding that decision makers are the ones that you should speak to all the time. I spoke to Banyaza. It didn't lead to anything. It led to the app being endorsed by the Department of Education, that it does align to CAPS requirements. But apart from that, they were just like, how you sell it is you. Sell your own business. So understanding that. But what I'm going to say is learn to listen. Learn to listen. It's literally the only thing that has made sure that we are still around. Because if we didn't learn to listen to the customers, listen to mentors, listen to people who have been running businesses. We come from families where you're the only one who's running.
You're the first one,
They can't advise you. Yes. I can't call Malume. Yeah. Malume is like, just go find a job. Just go find a job. That's all. There's that. And be patient with yourself.
So with listening, what has been one of the hardest truths that maybe a mentor or somebody who knows has told you that you didn't want to hear, but you had to hear it? I feel like it's a Bible.
It's a Bible. The first one was, and it stays with me because I created my business plan around schools running this. I was with the understanding that primary schools in townships would be the ones that would have the app on their devices, utilizing it, because even though it was designed to assist the parent, I still figured that the parent comes back at 7 at night, leaves at 5 in the morning. Really, by the time the parent is involved, it's a Saturday. Already there's 5 days that's gone. At least the teacher sees the child every day. So I wanted that. And I worked, everything I did was around finding that custom. And one of my mentors, Nepia Koza, he said, you need to rethink who you think the product is solving, whose problem, who's the person who is most hurt by this problem. Because too many times, if you're going to sell a product that helps Gifilo, but Gifilo is not hurt by that product, it's
not going to be easy for me to take money out of their pocket. Yeah,
speak to whose problem, the problem you're solving for, who is willing to pay for it. It's nice and all that to want to save the world. Who exactly is willing to take out their money? And once we started focusing on the people who were willing to pay, that is when we found our customers, which were the ECD centers.
Actually, really?
Yes.
And these are the ECD centers. We would assume they don't have the budget. They don't have the money for it. You want to go to, maybe you want government to be the one.
Government to be the one that then pushes this because they've got the budget, they've got the huge budgets. But in essence, when we started speaking to ECD center owners, we found that they are the decision makers. I will stand on it with everything. Speak to decision makers. We spend too much time speaking to people who are not decision makers.
Sure.
Speak to decision makers. And once you speak to them, tailor everything you're doing to solving their problem. When we get there, we are not solving the issue with the kid not learning mathematics. I want to tell the crash on that the kids in your crash will be the best in any primary school, when they live here, those teachers will know that kids that came from this
creche, and your creche will be the most recommended one, and therefore you start making money. Then you are the most in-demand creche.
Exactly.
All right, I see the psychology behind this. I see the psychology behind this. All right, but what was your educational background?
When I started business, I only had matric. Yeah, but I had gone to varsity. I had gone to varsity. I did my first year and second year at TUT University. I ate the school fees money. I must say, I'm not like those other people who, no, I didn't have money. My parents, no, I chowed the money, and my mom said, "You will learn."
Yeah.
And the learning was go find a job. So I found a job, and I was working. Like I said, I was working, and I was happy with the work that I was doing. I've always been a curious person. So wherever I was placed, I was in the call center, I was a waitress, I was a restaurant manager. I went on, I was an operator, I went on and then started growing within the manufacturing field. I've always been curious. So I grow wherever you plant me. And then with that metric and 2 years of computer science, that is why I knew that an app could help. And I knew who to speak to with regards to the apps, because I had former schoolmates that I could call on. I did it with that. But after that, I went back to school and I did get my diploma in packaging operations. And my background right now is full on operations. Project management is my strength.
All right, I want us to, you mentioned something about being curious, right? And how it sounds like you were able to, you were that kind, put me wherever, I'll learn how to do the job, I'll get it done sort of experience. And when I read on your website, it did say that STEM activities seem to develop critical thinking, creativity, collaboration skills, but it says for academic success. So what do we need these skills as entrepreneurs to build successful businesses? How do you think then maybe entrepreneurs could use STEM subjects, right, to develop these skills that they need for entrepreneurial success?
Thank you so much. I love the question. First things first. I spoke about maths, right? The reason why companies were looking for operators with maths and science is because it teaches you problem solving. The OEM wasn't necessarily saying you needed maths and science. It said you needed to have that thinking that allows you, when you see a problem, to want to figure out how to fix it and follow seconds of steps. Because they're going to have an instruction manual. But if you don't know how to follow seconds of steps, you're not going to be able to reset the machine. That's the one. As an entrepreneur, your day in, day out is problems. Problems with customers not paying on time. Problems with you've done the Facebook ads and you've got the leads, but the leads are not converting. How then do you then? You are constantly doing that. You need to be creative. So you're not the only person who's solving this problem.
Sure.
As much as you want to, you're not. You're gonna have to find a way to pivot, to do an iteration there.
Is this working?
Is this working? You test things out. It's your bread and butter. You need to be creative. You need to have logical thinking, because it doesn't matter how well you are. If you're gonna create an app and the first thing that you're gonna do is be like Lungi and launch the app, you've skipped steps.
Sure.
The steps around ensuring that people test it out and you hear what they say, you get the feedback from the customers, you get the feedback from the children that will be playing, you get the feedback from the parents, you do your market study around how much will people be willing to pay for this. All that is logical thinking. So as an entrepreneur, these are things that you're already using. You're probably not calling them that, but every single day, these are the thought processes that go through.
Sure. I'm an entrepreneur myself, but whenever I see numbers, whenever I see X equals to Z equals to Y, I'm like, mark me absent, teacher, right? But funny enough, how you are explaining it, I see that every single day I'm a problem solver. When I'm sitting and thinking, my competitor is doing this, how can I do it better? I think then it's just with mathematics, it has formulas, etc. But you just translate it into what you're doing. I want us to check a little bit on, and this is going to be a very controversial one. With what you are doing now, I know that the Department of Education was pushing that they want to introduce coding and robotics and STEM subjects into the curriculum. And now that decision has been... How does that make you feel? Because now I'm considering that this was going to give you an upper hand in the market with the kind of business that you are in.
It's so sad. When it was introduced, the fact that it is compulsory for coding and robotics to be offered, it was such a great space because finally we feel like they're leveling the playing field. It's always been my thing that the problem is not that it's not that kids don't want to learn. It seems as if kids in certain places, based on their financial power, can get access to certain things and not others. And this was sort of a leveling of the playing field. They've decided not. But I think it was because of how the whole decision was rushed. So what subsequently happened is that the curriculum was built, and it is a fantastic curriculum, I have to say that. It was built, but then the schools themselves were not ready to implement it. So it became an added burden to the schools. And as much as companies such as Nubian Smarts are around and a whole lot of other companies in the space, we can't help where a teacher's already feeling overburdened. Teachers in township schools are dealing with 50 kids in a class. You cannot imagine what that feels like. Now to add to that teacher who didn't study coding and robotics.
Can't use technology.
Themselves. Now you're saying you must teach kids. And then the tools, in some schools we find that they have the actual kits that are expensive in that. They have the actual kits, but nobody in the school is trained to utilize them. So they're sitting in the office in a nice... looking, gathering dust because there's nothing else. Nobody is trained on it. They don't have time, teachers, to be learning this as well. They might want to, and really we found teachers that really want to advocate for it, but that takes you doing it out of your own personal time. So it's an added of effort. So I think maybe going back to the drawing board is a good thing and seeing how do we implement it in a way that is sustainable because the current way was really not working. I'm hoping that the government in this moment takes the time to listen to entrepreneurs in the space in terms of what we have seen, and maybe we can then add our 2 cents and really help to make this level out the playing field. Our children are growing up where there's young 8-year-olds that are developing apps and making millions, while our children don't even know. They will play with the phone, but they don't know how everything that's there. They'll play with Roblox. They don't know how to create their own Roblox. So I'm hoping that that's going to happen. But I'm glad that the thinking is already there in terms of how do we. But I think it's just more collaborative effort that's needed.
Yeah, the public and private partnerships that need to happen. And how do you rate the quality of education in our country, and what can be done?
I think, and I'm going to be odd about this, I really do think if you look at the CAPS requirements and you look at that CAPS document, it was designed with, it's like good intentions, badly executed.
Okay.
It covers everything. Like for any teacher, you step in, it's going to tell you week 1, week 2, week 3, this is what you need to cover. It gives you how many minutes you need to do it. It sort of gives you examples. There's thinking around that. There's thinking in terms of the annual teaching plan. There's thinking in terms of that. The only problem that we have is that we have a lot of systematic issues. We have schools that are overcrowded.
Okay.
We have us as parents, we fail the schools, the teachers. So I, for example, as Lungi will decide that I'm not going to take my daughter to preschool up until she's 6 years old.
So but that early childhood development sort of like breaks.
That first 2,000 days of a child's life is so critical. That is when the learning comes in. That is when numeracy, pattern recognition, colors, language skills are developed. But I'm leaving my child with Ukoko, and Ukoko can't impart anything. So therefore, I'm failing this child. The child goes into at 6 years old at grade R. She's there. 4 months, I take her, and then I'm like, but Coco is there. Hey, this crash is expensive.
Yeah.
Let me take her out. And then I keep her at home. At 7 years old, she needs to go. She's in a class where others have gone.
Already.
They've been there since they were 2 years old. So they are much more ahead. The teacher needs to provide the same attention to everybody.
Sure.
Does not have the space to
baby the one who maybe still has to learn certain skills.
And then now this child is passed on, gets to grade 8, has not developed any of the foundations. And now me as a parent, I'm saying this education is bad. It requires the village. I will always advocate for the village. It requires the village to raise this child, because if none of us plays our part, this child will be failed. The education system in South Africa, it's not providing the results it needs to because of all those things. We need to help out as parents as well. Teaching your child is not only the teacher's responsibility. You need to be involved. There's certain things that they can only learn through you. They can learn from home, not at school. So we tend to give it off. We say it's the teacher's job.
Yeah.
It's the Department of Education's job, but we also need to be involved.
All right. So with your business, how are you making money?
Very hard. So we've got different products and they're designed for different customers.
Okay.
Right. So we've got the ECD Center program. This is for ECD centers in township and rural communities that do not have access to resources in order to implement STEAM education. So STEAM is your science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So with that, we then provide devices that the schools can lease. These devices come preloaded with everything you require to effectively run your ECD center. It's got your numeracy apps, it's got your literacy apps, because the child needs to be able to learn how to write. They need to be able to understand when you hear dog, that means you are talking about uspoti.
Okay.
When you hear cat, so forth. So there's that. Then we've got your coding and robotics. So we've got coding through Scratch Coding and Bbot loaded onto that. We've then also got introduction into wiring. We want to teach kids that in order for the light to switch on, there must be a power source.
Okay.
So they connect together batteries with light bulbs. So we do that. And then we provide a center management app that allows the center owner to also be able to get that business acumen that they require. Because too many times center owners really start off from, I was taking care of the kids in the yard, and then someone said, take care of my kids, and the next thing there was like 10 kids in the yard, and you're like, oh, this is a business. And then you start that. So also helping with regards to that. This is done through collaboration. It's not only our apps that we are putting there. We put apps from other fantastic edtechs, mainly from South Africa, others international, that provide that. So that is paid for by the center. They pay us for leasing the device, and they pay us for all the children that are registered. Okay. We also have a support system where through our WhatsApp chatbot, they're able to ask questions, interact with the AI chatbot in terms of based on the stuff that's already loaded there. So they're able to interrogate the information and find ways to support the kids. Then we've got the STEM Kids Fest, and those ones, we host them ourselves. So we will go to different areas and allow parents that, for example, your child is ufunde lokshin, but they don't get access to coding and robotics. We introduce them to coding and robotics over a 5-hour immersive experience. They get access to drones, coding, robotics. We do flight simulators. Most of the time we do those around airfields. We do it here in Johannesburg. We're at the SAA Museum. And we do those immersive experiences where the kids are sort of, the curiosity is sparked. And then those ones, they have tickets. So
the parents pay
the
then?
Parents pay directly. That's my straight up business B2C. The other one is a B2B, the ECD Center program. And then we also allow corporates to allow us to help them turn their policies and training documents into an AI assistant WhatsApp bot that allows, so for example, like I said, I've been manufacturing for long. In manufacturing, you'll find that an operator is new or some problem hasn't happened on the machine, and it happens that one day and they're alone. So now they have to find somebody else, or they have to go open the manual, and that takes time, and time is money. So this allows you to go straight onto WhatsApp
And ask
using natural language how to solve certain problems. So it's based on that. Even things like you are new, you need to use Power BI in this company that you're working on. But you did the training for Power BI and now you don't know.
Yeah.
So it allows that. And we also allow people to book us. So you are able to book us if you're hosting a party instead of doing a clown. Nothing wrong with clowns.
But let's look, I'm for the educational side. Look, I always say my nephews are going to call me the boring aunt because when they come and visit, I want them to read books.
Yes.
And I want us to do some educational stuff. So that would probably be my kiddies' parties where they're learning coding as opposed to doing dance stuff. So let's get into now the business side of things. You are a tech-centered business, right? And the use of AI or artificial intelligence is becoming a big thing now. Well, it already is.
It is.
I can say it already is. What is your take on AI? Because I know that there's a pool of red AIs, no. There's a pool of blue, yes, all for it. What's your take on it, if we're being genuinely honest about where it's moving towards? And I'll tell you, I always say, remember when computers were being introduced and the internet was being introduced, mobile phones were being introduced, we were all panicking, right? Like, what's going to happen? Our lives are going to change. They're going to take our jobs. But today we can't live without any of those things. And we've sort of like adjusted and it's our day to day. So what is your take on this new technology?
Yeah, I think it opens up an opportunity. Please hear me out, everybody up front. AI opens up an opportunity for Africa. And if we are not going to stand up and take cognizance of it, we're really going to miss out. Number one, right now we are talking about the option of being able to, through prompting, create an entire application, launch it and publish it. Why is this good for Africa? Where else does the world have so many problems? It's us. We are experiencing them. We didn't have the resources. We didn't have Python coding, and hiring a developer costs 200,000 rands if you are extremely lucky, and that is at the low end of everything. At other high ends, it's looking at 1.2 million rands to get an app out. You can literally get your MVP out just by prompting. What does this mean? With your creativity from the problems that you've seen, if you are able to tell this platform that this is what I envision, it can make it happen. Then what does this mean? That you are now able to go to an investor and say, this is what it looks like. You are able to go to a customer and say, would you be able to play with this? Would it add value to you? Would you be able to pay? Now you have a business study. You are able to create a business plan. You are able to get access to marketing material. You are able to get access to avatars that would allow you to, if you are like me and don't like your voice, you can get avatars that speak on your behalf. So it opens up a lot of things. But if you're going to sit there and say, this thing is coming to take our jobs, we're going to miss out. I'm reminded that when calculators came out, professors said no. Today, you will get a list from your child's school saying, this is the calculator you need to buy. So it means that as time goes on, people get used to certain things and they integrate it into their lives. This is our opportunity to stand at the forefront and really provide that. The only problems that we have in Africa is that because we are not telling the AI about African stories, it's not going to tell African stories. It's up to us. We need to teach it. We need to teach it the values of Africa and what it means to be African.
Yeah, that's great. And in your business, what AI tools are you currently using to develop your products, to reach out to customers?
Yeah. So, like I said, we've got the AI WhatsApp assistant. fully automated by AI. So I don't answer the questions. There is no person who's sitting behind. All we did is we trained the chatbot on information around CAP's curriculum. We trained it on information around what it means to the early learning outcomes of a child, so that at the ECD center level, we don't have to be there. So how we were doing our business before is we had to send facilitators through to the centers to make sure that they support the kids, and we had to send out reports to the schools to say, in your class, this is what is happening. 20 of the kids understand counting 1 to 10. There's these 3 kids that don't. You might want to provide extra attention to them. And if it's the whole class, you might have to redo. And this is what we suggested. So we had to suggest, this is what we suggest you do in terms of doing that. None of my facilitators go to school, to the schools right now. This has reduced my cost massively.
Imagine, yeah.
So because the WhatsApp chatbot is there, that's the one. I use ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. I use Notebook LM. With my posts, I will go on and use Canva. Sometimes you have really writer's block and you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
And somebody comes to you and says, we are from a small business. Could you do a proposal for us? And you're like, oh God, where do I start?
Yeah.
I'm able to feed that information through to ChatGPT. I use the HeyGen avatars. I use Suno to create soundtracks for our videos, because TikTok will say that won't be shared because you utilized.
And look at how much money that is saving you, because in a business, especially for those of you guys who are small business owners, you'd have to hire a graphic designer. That's a cost. You'd have to then hire
write a proposal
writer. So you need it. But now with these tools, and I think it's on us mentally to say it's okay to use these tools. I think people have this block in their heads that somehow if they use AI technologies, they are not cheating. You are cheating. Yes, you're not good at what you do. You know. So a document that I created, I sent it to someone, and someone was like, "Oh, ChatGPT is out here saving lives," and I was like, "Yes, I'm not about to go and think of how to perfect this sentence that I'm saying when ChatGPT can give it to me in 5 seconds." So I think it's just the shift that needs to happen in our brain to say it's okay.
Think of it as a calculator. That's how I think of it. I use a calculator.
Yeah.
I'm a maths person, but I use a calculator all the time.
Yeah.
So you think of it as that.
Yeah. All right. So if someone was to learn anything, somebody's an entrepreneur or they're starting their business and they're like, okay, I'm here now. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Or maybe they've already started, but they feel stuck. Because I'm sure you would say that somewhere in your years of running a business, there was that dip. There was a point where you felt stuck. What is the first thing that they should start doing or learning?
I think first things first, be patient with yourself. Understand that we all go through that. There's days when I wake up and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Lord, take over. Understand that. Secondly, find a tribe. Guys, this thing of us saying entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. You are making it lonely yourself. Find a tribe. There are people out there.
Yeah.
Find coaches, find mentors, find a group that you can speak to. Like I said, I'm a person of the Bible. Jesus had 12 people around him. Yeah. In the 12, he had 3 that were his close friends.
Yes,
who are you not to have?
Yeah.
Have people that you can call out to and say, I'm feeling stuck, and bounce off ideas onto. It's really important. But start with what you have. It will never be perfect. You will never have everything. Success is a journey. It's not a destination. Yeah. You will always be walking it every day.
And to close off, what has been your biggest loss in your business and what has been your biggest win in your business?
Biggest loss, so upfront this year, so end of last year, I decided officially I wasn't going to be able to do both things. So for the past couple of years, I was full-time in manufacturing because I love it. Please, guys, I'm not the person who left corporate because I wasn't happy.
It was toxic.
It wasn't toxic, yes. The toxicness is everywhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't the toxicity. I loved it. I just felt like this baby needed my attention a bit more right now. So I leave the employment and the security around that. And we've got a product. We've got everything is figured out. We're selling. We're working. And our major app which is the New Kids app, which was developed in 2017, and we updated it in 2020.
Yeah.
Crashes and dies, guys. Everything that I've been selling in my life has always been the New Kids app. And I fell in love with the product and not the problem. It was so painful. I called around and I asked people, how can you help? How can we get it back? How can we... they gave me ridiculous prices. And I was like, oh, no. But then I remembered, I didn't start this because of the New Kids app. I started it because there is a parent out there who wants to give their child the best education, but doesn't know how to. There's a center out there that wants to make sure that the kids are ready for the future, but doesn't know how to. So we fell back in love with the problem. And since then, we have grown more than when we were just pushing the New Kids app.
Yeah. And your highest win?
My highest win...
Please tell me you got 10 million funding somewhere.
We've gotten a couple of funding.
Okay.
We've got grant funding there. We've got had safe investments from last year we went. I was in Canada for 3 months with the University of Toronto doing their work integrated learning project through the Africa Impact Initiative. It's been eye-opening to see that the problem that I'm solving in South Africa is not a South African problem. It's a worldwide problem. That is a win. That validation to know that what you are solving, there's a market for it, has been the hugest win. But let me not lie. And I'm going to talk. There's a mother, when we started off at the center, at one of the centers, we started in 2019. They're still our customers. When we started, there was this child, Mohau. Mohau's mother, even now, he is in primary school. She will call and say, you know, my child, I see the love he has for mathematics and the love he has for learning. I'm convinced it's you, even at the school. And hearing that is a win because it means that what we're doing is really touching the lives that we wanted to.
Sure. If I were to give you a magic wand, right?
Yes.
And this magic wand can give you anything that you want, what would it be?
Could I go back and be 30 again?
Done.
Can I please be 30 and then apply for all the young people funding that is out there? But no, I think more time. There's so much more to do. And can God show me more of my tribe? More people who can be enablers and people who will hear me and trust, and we can collaborate and work together and solve this African challenge.
Sure.
That's what I want.
Love that. I think it is definitely going to happen. We are manifesting it. But if there's anything that I've taken out and you should take out of this conversation, right, is number one, get your tribe. Whether it's mentors, whether it's anybody that when you are struggling, you can pick up your phone and say, you know what, I don't know what I need to do. Entrepreneurship is not a lonely journey. You are making it lonely. Number two, don't fall in love with the product, fall in love with the problem that you are solving, because then, like I say, with transportation, there's many ways to get to somewhere. There's a bus, there's a car, there's a truck, there's a plane, right? Don't fall in love with just one way of doing things, and listen to other people who know that have been there before you when they're showing you different ways, and do your market research. Don't just jump. Please. Don't just jump and say, oh, I've got an amazing product. It sounds amazing to you, but is that what people want out there? Is that something that somebody would be paying for? Lungile, thank you so much. You've been so amazing. I've learned so much. I think I need to go and apply these couple of things that you've shared with us on the episode today. If you love that, please do make sure to leave us a comment. Tell us what are some of your key takeaways. Like, subscribe, and also share with your tribe of entrepreneurs, family, and friends who you know will definitely benefit from this episode. Until next time, thank you so much. Goodbye.